up where we left off.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to talk about is late term abortion murder justified murder? Is it justified murder? So let's go ahead and you ready to just get into it, dude?
Yeah, fuck it, let's go.
Let's go on. Let's get into it.
So the question is, should abortion be legal in the last trimester? In other words, should a woman be legally allowed to have an abortion in the last 3 months of her pregnancy? Okay, so same rule. I'm going to count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Move. Only then move. So be really good if you put it in your mind now so no one would be influenced by anybody else. You got it? That strongly agree. That strongly disagree. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move.
Ooh, split.
Okay. Tell us why.
All right, so this is interesting.
Yeah.
I gotta change something real quick. Hopefully that fixes it. All right. What do you think about that? Do you understand what she was saying?
I do understand what she was saying. I don't know how I feel about it.
So she's saying it's murder because she took the risk of pregnancy by having consensual sex. So from what I gather, it's the woman's right now to raise that child.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot of factors that come into play when you're talking about abortion, and obviously my views aren't reflective of people that I know or anyone I might be associated with, company I work for, anything like that. So I just want to get that out there. All views are our own,
right.
Obviously, and being raised a Catholic, we were always just told that abortion's wrong, right? And I don't think that there's black and white in this world. There's gray too. Mm-hmm. And in the case of rape or incest or the pregnancy is going to kill the woman, that kind of thing, or delivering the child is going to kill the woman, that kind of thing. I think that abortion is justified because, I mean, if you were brutally raped and you're going to have a child with that person, that's just a reminder of what happened. It's not made out of love. And but if you're full term and you're in your last not full term, but if you're in your last trimester, I mean, you had 2 other trimesters to evaluate this, mm-hmm. right? And at that point, you pretty much came to terms with you're going to have a child. You know what I mean? And
I don't see how you couldn't.
I think the only way that you can justify having an abortion is if you find out, like, hey, you're going to die if you have this kid. And
well, let me ask you a question. So in the last trimester, mm-hmm. It's somewhere around.
Well, pregnancies are 9 months, so 36. So yeah, 28-ish weeks. Yeah.
So most babies are viable. Yeah. At 28 weeks, mm-hmm. or I think the viability is like 24, 25 weeks.
24, 25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're 3 weeks past that, so there's a very good possibility of the baby even surviving in the last trimester.
Mm-hmm.
So why would you have an abortion? Why wouldn't you just have a cesarean, or
That's true.
you
That's
know,
true.
give birth naturally if you're gonna die? You know, if that's a possibility.
If it's a possibility,
If they can
absolutely.
induce, you know,
If they can induce labor, if they can make it safe, then you need to have that child. I think there's, you know, one argument I heard, and it was the worst argument that you could give me. Like, well, we found out that the child was going to be special needs. And?
right?
You know what I mean? Like, I have a special needs son.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't really change my view on my son.
Person,
You know what I
right?
mean?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, him and Gianni are about the same age. Gianni's, what, about 11?
Mm-hmm.
And Wyatt's 8. You know, and obviously Gianni can do things that Wyatt will never be able to do. But that doesn't mean that Wyatt's quality of life isn't as good as Gianni's.
Right.
You know? So my biggest thing with that is when I hear that special needs argument, it just infuriates me. Right? This third trimester thing, I don't really see a reason to have an abortion that late unless they find something with that mother, like, hey, no matter what this baby comes out of you, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Understandable.
like that's the only way I can justify an abortion.
Late term.
Because like if I'm the husband and if it's my wife, God forbid, like that's a tough conversation obviously to have. Like, hey, like at that point you're saying I value the child's life over yours. And you're my wife. You know what I mean? We can have another kid. You know, it's pretty, I hate using this term, but it's kind of easy to have a kid. Not literally, but you know what I mean? Like, the act isn't something that people are unfamiliar with.
Right.
You know what I mean? And not diminishing anything, you know, there are people that can't conceive, and that's horrible. You know what I mean? But, you know, for someone like me and my wife, you know, who potentially could conceive, you know, and everything, like, if we did it once, we could probably do it again.
Right.
So, hey, I value your life a lot more than anything else. But yeah, that's I kind of got off on a tangent there, but it's a very interesting conversation so far that they're having, and I do find it interesting that it was just one woman going over to the disagree. Mm-hmm. So I think we're obviously gonna find out.
Let's see what let's see what the agree people have to say.
Let's do it.
So I mean, it's murder generally.
Okay. Okay, so what did you hear her say?
Absolutely nothing.
Okay. So repeat loud, just in one sentence, your argument for him.
Okay, one second to think about it.
Take your time.
I think it's important to keep in mind that this child that you're giving birth to in 2 months or 3 months or 1 month, this is life. So I don't see this really from a religious point. I see it more from an ethical point, that you have a life to be born, a person to be born, and you kill this, you take this life.
Did you hear her?
A little. So she said basically that's nearly a life, and we should keep that in mind, basically.
Nearly life.
Is that right?
So I said that basically you said it's nearly a life, then we should keep that in mind.
Can you respond to that?
So first, I'm not a woman, at least not born, and I don't want to infringe on anyone.
What?
So my belief is that everyone should decide for themselves. Like, each of them should decide when and if they want to. And I think if the woman, for example, her situation changes and she, so let's say at the start of the pregnancy, she wanted it, she could take care of the child, and then her situation changes. For example, she loses her job, her place, basically everything. I wouldn't condemn her if she terminated the pregnancy, because I believe with all my heart that if you cannot take care of the baby in every way possible, you shouldn't have that.
Okay.
Timeout.
But you can adopt. You can put the baby up for adoption.
Yeah, not only that, but losing your job,
Sucks, but
Is-
it's not the end of the world.
it's a piss poor excuse to terminate a pregnancy. Like,
Yeah.
you can get another job. You can
You
get
can
a
get
job.
another job. There's resources out there. I mean, every country has resources.
And let me ask you this. Let's say she's in a beautiful position all throughout the pregnancy, decides to have the child, has the child, a year down the road, she loses her job. Now what?
What's she gonna do? Kill the kid?
Right.
Like, that is a piss poor excuse. I think. Like, I mean, think it's just like you said just now. Like, I mean, situations can change dynamically. Oh, I could lose my job tomorrow, bro. You know what I mean? What?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, shit happens. Like, people go through rough times all the time. That's no excuse.
But iron sharpens iron, right? So that's a really piss poor excuse because you have a kid and you're down on your luck. What the fuck are you gonna do? You gonna nut up or you gonna shut up, right?
Right.
Like, iron sharpens iron, bro.
Yeah.
So get out there and bust your ass even harder.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a piss poor excuse.
Awful excuse. I don't think he. I think he lost all credibility with like one of the first couple sentences that he said in there. I think you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I
That
don't
blew
know.
me away.
I know what you're talking about. I don't know what he was talking about.
Yeah,
But-
and so I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
this kid might be just too woke.
Let's see what if the let's see what
Let's see if
is-
Wish.com Harley Quinn has to say.
Yeah.
What about his argument? If you cannot take care of the baby in every way possible, then you should get an abortion, including at the 8th month.
I strongly agree at first that you should never condemn a woman because she's having an abortion. But when you have 2 or 3 or 1 month until birth, you can just wait for this period, have the baby, and you can. I mean, it's not easy to do that, but we should think about then giving the child away. This is an option as well. You have to decide between giving a child away, having a very
Just like you said.
yeah, a very bad birth. It's pretty exhausting for the mother, of course, but the other option is it's murder of a child. It's murder of a life.
How come you're not on the strongly disagree line?
Because I think there are exceptions at first that we should keep in mind, like when it's when there are medical reasons for the mother not to have this birth.
Okay,
There are
so-
reasons like rape.
So you're not on that line because of exceptions. Like there could be something that would come up that you would say, okay, 8 months in, the woman should be legally allowed to have an abortion.
Yes, and maybe the psychological state of the mother.
Okay.
That's something I
Why-
didn't consider
tell us
either.
Why you're
Psychological.
Yeah, like people can develop depression, people can develop schizophrenia, Alzheimer's. I mean, early onset Alzheimer's, that kind of thing. Dementia, maybe. Maybe she gets paralyzed. You know, maybe.
Yeah, but again, like I said earlier, I mean, you're 7, 8, 9 months in. You're almost full term. Like you're basically full term. Cesarean. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I could see like. I could understand the mental part of it, but I still think you're really far into the pregnancy
You're very far in.
to even consider an abortion. I feel like there are other options available.
There are.
You're on the agree that that a woman should be allowed to have an abortion in the last trimester.
It's a woman's body and no one should be able to say anything about it. And if the woman can't raise the baby after the baby was born,
I feel like she's Medusa. Those
feel like she's-
contacts.
I feel like she's like Wish.com combined Harley Quinn and Billie Eilish and just like threw Play-Doh and one of those troll dolls in there as well into a blender and said, fuck it. And
This is
then
what we
that's
got.
came out. With one of those Bratz dolls
she
too.
shouldn't have it. She shouldn't have the baby. Like the baby needs an environment to raise well, and if she can't have that environment, so she shouldn't have it.
So I think I understood I think I understand everybody's arguments. I have a couple of questions. Do you think a woman should be allowed to get an abortion up to the day before she's allowed to give birth?
That is like a trick question. And I don't know. Like as I
Okay, the
said,
week before.
as I said, if she cannot take care of the baby, like when she realizes that, I think as,
Well, she realizes it the day
as soon
before.
as she realizes it,
Right.
then she should terminate it. But like she mentioned adoption. My sister is adopted. I have one, and to be honest, it was such a weird experience. Like, for starters, in here, the adoption process long.
In Romania.
Yeah. Not only that,
Yeah.
the conditions. For example, right after the revolution here in '89, they were gruesome. Like, if you went to a, like I don't know how to say it in English, a childcare place like that
Okay.
for the for orphans, awful. Like, wouldn't change them. Rashes, they were basically awful. Like they were coming from war. So
He
my
said that was
mother saw that
1989?
when
Yes.
she adopted my sister.
We're in 2023 now. I'm not saying it
She
doesn't
told
happen.
me never to adopt.
I think
Plus,
his
there
point is this is his family's experience,
Right.
and it's just so when we talk about things, we come from our own experience, right?
Right.
So I'm getting what he's saying, and yeah, it is 2023 now. I mean, we're 34 years down the line, but what else can he relate it to?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel it. But I mean, I'm sure if he asked his sister, would you have rather went to that and be where you are today, or just not even existed?
Correct.
I bet you I can't say for sure, but I know what I would say.
Yeah.
There is
Never to adopt. Why?
why our experience was really awful. Like
Your sister, are you close to your sister now?
no, we don't talk in like 5 years at least.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, not your fault.
Okay. All right. So let me ask you a question. So, is there anything you could
Yeah,
tell?
not your fault. I'm sorry. Yeah, not your fault. I'm sorry.
her to move her just one line to the slightly disagree? What would you need to hear from them for you to move there?
I
Loud for them.
Okay. I think I need to hear an argument why it is not murder to kill a child in the last trimester.
Can you provide her that argument? Why it is not? Yeah, the lot of noise. Why it is for her to move to the
Yes.
slightly disagree, she would need you to tell her why it's not murder.
I think the woman won't be able to raise the child.
Can you hear it?
So
Loud.
the woman won't be able to raise the child, and the baby will have a bad life. Maybe the baby won't be happy or healthy.
She wants to know why it's not murder.
So it's not about the fact that it's not murder. Like,
You think it is murder?
yeah, basically it is. Like,
What the fuck? He just admitted it. He just said
I hate
it's
this fucking
murder.
kid. I hate this kid.
He just said it's murder. And like he's like, yeah, basically it is. No
Yeah,
big deal.
no big
No
deal.
fucking big deal. It's just a little bit of
a
murder
little
for
bit of
this
murder.
little fetus, a little.
With his Brokeback Mountain jacket on.
Oh my god, I can't believe he just said that. That's crazy.
I consider that if you end an innocent life, it's considered murder. No matter the age. So, like, if you have the right to terminate an ill person's life, for example, if they just stay in the hospital like a legume, or they suffer every
A
day,
legume?
I
Like a
think you are
fucking
allowed
nut?
to terminate a child's life instead of letting him suffer either in your house or other people's houses.
So you think sometimes the benefits of murder outweigh and I'm just trying to make sure I understand this. The benefits of if you don't want to call it murder, termination.
No,
or
he
what
called
have
it
you,
murder.
In the ninth. What is it with all these? Like there is a constant.
It's the center. This is like the most full of noise.
I mean, what is
place.
this? Like constant police and ambulances? Okay, but anyway, so okay, what would you need to hear from?
No, don't pass over that. He said basically that it's in some cases murder is more justifiable than allowing a child to go through tough times. Is
My
that what
mind
you
is-
understood that?
Yeah, my mind is blown.
That doesn't make sense to me. Never.
I mean, it's
never.
Romania though, bro. They're wild over there.
Yeah, but I mean, people like this have the same views, bro. And here in America, this isn't anything new.
This is wild.
Her to move you to one line over, and what would you need to hear from her to move you one line over? What would you need to hear from her?
So, like, if she was 100% sure that not
Tell
killing
her,
the child.
tell her.
So I said, if you are 100% sure that not terminating the child's life and placing him either in adoption or raising it yourself would lead to that child to be happy and not have lots and lots and lots of trauma, then I would move even to your place. But if you are not 100%, then I'm not moving.
Is that reasonable? What he said?
No.
I don't think so.
Tell him why.
So I think I mean, you can never be sure that a child will be happy, no matter if it comes directly in a family that loves the child, for example, because there can always happen some family tragedies. You never know how life will play you. And to decide just because you are not 100% sure that a child will be totally happy, to decide to kill it instead is quite a drastic way to put it, in my opinion. Maybe I'd say something else. Okay.
Tell him anything you want to tell him.
So I'm sorry about your brother that he wasn't raised
Sister.
properly.
Sister.
Oh, sorry, sister.
Yeah.
That wasn't raised. She wasn't raised properly in the first years. But I think when we speak about this, it depends a lot about national differences. Because I have a adopted cousin myself, and she was adopted, I think, after 1 or 2 years, and she was quite happy in the family, quite well integrated. And I know from my country that you can have also a pretty good life in the first years. So I think it's not. It has nothing to do with should we have an abortion or not. It has something to do with the system in the countries that should change.
Is there anything I should have asked you that I did not ask you? Is everybody satisfied that the line they're on is the line they should be on? Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Bullshit.
Thank you.
Bullshit.
All right, yo, listen, that kid.
Bullshit.
If you can guarantee me that that kid will be happy. All right, I just did some quick math. I've been alive for 12,092 days.
You gonna show people that broke ass phone time, knowing I fix phones?
Go see Cracked. I haven't. I've been alive for 12,092 days. I have been happy for probably... truly happy for 3,023 of them. 25% of my life, I'd say.
So about 10 years.
About 10 years, I've been truly happy.
Ish.
My parents couldn't guarantee that I'd be completely happy, but that's fucking life.
Right.
That's life, bro.
Yeah, nobody can.
You can't guarantee.
And for one, all right, so small kids don't know what happy is.
No.
They just know their comfort.
Yeah. They
Are
just
they
know.
comfortable?
Yeah.
Right? And let's say even they're not comfortable. Let's say they grow up and they had a shit time. I know I'm familiar with people who have had hard times as kids and grow up and are happy and like, you know, maybe they were in trouble or they were in and out of foster systems or whatever the case was. And now they're grown, they have their own family. I'm sure they wouldn't trade No, I just don't think they would trade for the alternative.
No. But that's what I was getting at. I've only been happy probably 25% of my life, but I wouldn't trade that for not being alive.
You'll take all 75% of that bad
Yeah.
for that 25% of the good.
There have been times that I haven't wanted to be alive and I've been in dark places, but ultimately I'm still here, right? So
Yeah.
obviously I found some good,
Yeah.
right? Like, yeah, late-term abortion isn't ideal, right? It's not an ideal situation. You, me, fucking Joe Biden, fucking Mike DeWine, John down the street. Can't tell anyone how to feel because it's one of the most hot button issues in the world. But I think in a conversation like this, you have to be able to have a cognizant argument and be able to not argue or anything like that, but be able to at least defend your viewpoints and have an intelligent conversation, right? Because that's what drives this narrative forward on abortion. And I don't think this is the only problem. This is one of the big problems I have with abortion.
Okay.
Older white men are making laws that dictate women's bodies. And that would be like older white women telling young men stuff about their bodies, right? We wouldn't like
I
that.
I don't see it as dictating anything as far as anybody's body. The way I see it as they're trying to protect a human life within the woman.
And I see what you're saying there, and I do. But when they brought these laws out, we've talked before about blanket statements, right?
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, when these laws came out this past year, right? I think a lot of blanket statements were made and things weren't quantified when these laws were passed. Rape, incest, which kind of go hand in hand, essentially.
I don't know about that.
I think.
There's some people who actually are, I don't want to say into incest, but
But if the person that's
they're
into incest,
consenting to
that person that's consenting
an
probably isn't going to
incestual
want to
relationship.
abort the baby. What I'm saying is it's a incest rape is what I'm getting at.
Okay, yeah. That's
Or a pregnancy is going to kill the woman. You know what I mean? I think those are instances where abortion is okay, and I don't think that people should really shit on those people for having that abortion because
you say blanket statement, and I get what you're saying. And when you said rape and all that, so I think if you have an abortion, I think if abortion becomes widely illegal or unaccepted, with exceptions such as rape, I think it should be required that you file some kind of police report.
I think you should too.
And name the person.
I think you should
if you have a
too.
name, because just get them off the fucking street. I mean,
I think
get
that-
it. And they can maintain
yes.
anonymous until, if there's like a court proceeding.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I think there should be a name.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You name that rapist, bro.
Hell
You
yeah.
name that shit, and you put that dude on the streets. Do what they used to do in the old days. Put him up there on the stage and throw stones at that motherfucker, bro.
Stone them.
Stone him, homie. Like shit
Castrate
like
'em.
that. I wouldn't be opposed to that. I'd go watch.
Chemical castration.
Oh, shoot. No, dog. I'm talking scissors,
snip 'em.
homie. I'm talking, and the girl gets to go up there with, like, hedge trimmers type scissors. And
Do it like they do on the horses.
Yeah,
Fucking
dog.
Load the device and twist
Yeah.
them right off.
I'm telling you, man. Because I'm going to tell you what. I bet rapes go down a bunch if that happens.
Oh yeah, I bet. I bet. 100%.
I bet. I think this country needs a good old-fashioned... come to God moment sometimes, and shit like that needs to happen. Because, bro, I'm not a saint. I'm not like a great dude, but I do know how to respect women. And there have been many times when I was in college or I was younger, situations are presented, and my dad said it best. If she says no, you gotta go.
Yeah.
And I lived my life by that, dude. Like, for real. It was one of the best things of advice he ever gave me. She says no, you gotta go. And she said no. Cool. I'm out. Back to the party, man. Right? Or back to what I was doing. Yeah, it sucked because maybe the girl was cute, but just wasn't meant to be. So what else pisses me off? These NFL players, man.
Oh God, we're saving that for another video.
We'll save that for another video.
All right, so we are going to go ahead and end that there. Thank you so much for watching our reaction video. You have all made the cut. We hope you enjoyed our take on the latest and greatest videos out there. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss a reaction from us. And if you have any suggestions for videos you'd like us to react to, let us know in the comments below. Until next time, keep on watching and keep on reacting. Peace.